Hello and welcome in, everyone. It's Scootsy16 here with Season 3 of the Chem Lock League. The Outlaws have a brand new look, a few different players on the team than what we saw last year. A couple of hard decisions had to be made in the offseason, but very excited and very hopeful for Season 3. Just a quick reminder before we get into the team and get started with our first game of the season. We did win the championship after going 10-6 and then battling out of the wild card to go all the way to the finals and beat the Scroungers in 3 games. We followed that up with another playoff season, another 10-6 record, getting into the playoffs as a wild card seed. This time we had to face off against the Reapers, then the Dirt Dogs. Made it to the finals once again, but our offense faltered. Our pitching could not hold down those dive bombers, and they ended up beating us in 3 games, 2-1. So a little bit of revenge here in Season 3, but just as a quick reminder, what I had mentioned during the offseason, this is going to potentially be the last year with the Outlaws. So I have made it this season a make or break year. So if the Outlaws win this year, we will continue for Season 4. However, if they do not win it all, if they do not get a championship in Season 3, then I will be exporting this league kind of where it is right now. We're going to export it. I will randomize a team that I will be playing as, and I will use their current chemistry as of the export to determine what the shuffle draft will look like with this player pool. So I'll talk more about that at the end of the season if we get to that point, but let's go ahead and take a look at what the team looks like now that we've made a few changes. And you are going to see some familiar faces. You're also going to see some players you maybe haven't seen before, and missing some players that you have grown to love over the years. So to get us started here, new starting catcher, and that is B. Buck. He has come in to replace Giovanni Mays, bit of a better fielder with that stronger arm. He also has that fastball hitter trait, which was very tempting to me. So we did lose the potent bat of Giovanni Mays. We appreciate his services, but he will not be here this year unless he becomes available later. We decide to sign him. We'll see how that goes. Alex Hernandez will continue to be our backup catcher. He has produced well for us in spot performances. We love that, so he will continue to stick around. Justice Cologne, you know her. You love her, you hate her. Could be either side, but she's going to be our starting first baseman as usual. We're going to have Elias Hensley as our primary DH this year. Elias with high pitch and fastball hitter. He is a former Mauler. Yeah, Mahler. In his prior 2 years, he had a rough first year, but that second year, he ended up being number 2 in the top 10, only behind Tony Centercut. So an incredible year for him, and we will be maxing out his traits, so hoping that will be productive for us. Rock Quintana had a MVP caliber first year and then struggled mightily in Season 2. Some of those numbers are still pretty decent, but not Rock Quintana style. He also struggled during the playoffs when we needed him, so hoping year 3 will get him to right that ship. We ended up bringing back Glass Snyder. Didn't expect to, but at third base, there wasn't really an option for us. And I really wanted to keep Fernanda Branch, but it just didn't work with us chemistry-wise. So hopefully he doesn't regress too much more than he already has, and we will have him hanging out at third base. We'll have Ramon Lee, our consistent shortstop, will be hanging out with us again. And then we have Saul Ferguson, who is a decent backup infielder, but also has that low pitch with high contact. So hoping that is something that we see successful out of him as we go through this season. Tony Centercut, the Season 2 MVP, will be back and playing left field for us full-time. Caroline Dealer, a backup outfield option for us. We have Dalton Babshishin will be manning center field as normal, hoping for a good season from him. Catherine McKinney will primarily just be a backup outfield option for us and maybe a pinch runner at the end of a game. And then Braden Sorelli will be back in right field for the Outlaws. Pitching-wise, this is where most of the changes that occurred. So the starting rotation is pretty much the same. You'll see Madden Zimmerman here. You're going to see Rince Shaw. You're going to see Lily Dubs. However, the newcomer is Kellen Kirk. He was a former All-Star from the Rippers last year in season 2. He ended up, I'm sorry, actually, yeah, for the Rippers. He was number 6 in the top 10. Just a phenomenal year. He had 2 complete games and 1 complete game shutout during the season. So I'm hoping that him coming in can bolster this pitching rotation. And then in the bullpen, you will see Chris Flopside is going to be our primary reliever. And no longer do we have Jacoby Maddox. He was another big loss for us, but instead we brought in Elder Santos. Very excited about that workhorse trait. Curious to see what that looks like. He's also got an elite 4-seam fastball with 90 velocity, so hoping that it plays up really well, especially when you look at Chris Flopside being our other starter with that, or I mean our other primary reliever with that elite curveball. So we'll see how that plays out. We got Dane Rollins here returning, and then we have 2 newcomers in Colton Ryan with that Tier 3 composed will be nice, and then Dane Schaffer with that gets ahead trait. So we'll see how the bullpen fares. We had a bit of a rocky experience with pitching last year, in my opinion, so I had to bolster that up quite a bit. So I feel pretty confident with this team, and I do want to get us into this one. We will be facing off against the Sewer Sneaks in Game 1. Once again, we will be playing at Sakura Hills, which is their home park, and we will be facing off against former Blurs All-Star Orville Bracketeer. Setting the lineup before we get started here, I will have our traditional Braden Sorelli followed by Dalton Babshishin leading off. I will have Tony Centercut in the 2 spot. I want Rock Quintana at 4. We'll put Elias Hensley at 4. No, Rock at 4, Elias at 5. Justice Cologne at 6 because she doesn't feel comfortable anywhere but 6th spot. Man, this lineup looks really deep on paper. I'm fine with this the way it is. Every one of our batters has something to show here, so very curious to see how this plays out. And then we will have Kellen Kirk come in and be our primary starter, our ace of the team. Madden Zimmerman already kind of acknowledged that Kellen was coming in to be the ace of this team, so he knew his place as the number 2, and essentially he said, this is like having 2 aces on the team, so why would I be offended when we are now a even better organization? So appreciate him, the young player already starting to look like a leader on this team. So I want us to have our alternative uniforms, and let's head to Sakura Hills. So Year 1, Game 1 of the Chem Lock League was a 5-3 victory against the Sewer Sneaks in Sakura Hills. Year 2, Game 1 was at home against the Sewer Sneaks, and we ended up losing that one 7-4. So unfortunate loss there, but that means that in our experience facing off against the Sewer Sneaks, we have gone 1-1 against them. So we are familiar with their starter, Orville Bracketeer. Will be on the mound for the Sewer Sneaks. Big get for them in the offseason, and we will see what we can do against the former All-Star. Starting with Braden Sorelli, who I'm hoping is a big part of this offense this year as he grounds out to second base for out number 1. So pseudo leadoff man Dalton Babshishin will come up with 1 out. I hope you all are happy with the team. I know there were some very big fan favorites that we ended up letting go of this year, unfortunately, and it was kind of a casualty of us going all in for the year, and also just working with the chemistry that we had. Diving play from Holcorn, trying to get it over to first base, but not in time. Great hustle from Dalton Babshishin on the full count base hit up the middle. That's going to land as an infield single in the scorebook, and now we have great speed over there at first base. Something that I have complained about for most of this Chem Lock League is the speed and the base running of our team, as you saw Babshishin take off there and the foul from Tony Centercut. So 1-2 count here, checking on the runner. I do not like that we run as often as we do. and it doesn't end up paying off as much as we'd like. A ball in the dirt, and then Babshishin takes off, and he's out at second base. Strong arm from the catcher behind the plate. And then Tony Centercut, doing what he does best, sends that one into right center field, and it gets into the bullpen of the Outlaws. A solo shot for Tony Centercut, picking up where he left off last year. His first home run of the season is a solo shot. Unfortunately, because Dalton Babshishin took off for second base and got caught stealing. So we have a 1-0 lead here in the first inning. Rock Quintana, our year one MVP, will come up. And Orville Bracketeer is tense here. 2-0 count for Rock Quintana. Gets an off-speed pitch, sends it up the middle. Holcorn is able to make the range over there. Didn't have to dive this time, and that's a ground out. 6-3 for the putout, and that's the end of the inning. But the Outlaws do get one. Unfortunately, could have been two if we didn't have Babshishin taking off, which I pretty much called right before he did it. And now here comes Kellen Kirk versus Evie Frown. Kellen Kirk was on the Rippers last year, number 6 in the top 10, induces a pop-up to third base right there. He had a 2.21 ERA, a .69 whip, 169 opponent batting average. He also had 18 strikeouts, a .89 walk per nine ratio, and a 9.0 for Ks per walk. A nice sliding attempt from Braden Sorelli, but that's going to drop in front of him. It's a trap, and that's going to be a base hit and a mojo boost for the Sewer Sneaks here. So with one out, Loki Holcorn comes up. Shortstop had a couple of plays there in the top half of the inning. Below average speed at first base as that ball goes through the wickets of Kellen Kirk, and he's not able to get his glove down, and that's going to be a base hit up the middle. So 2 on and 1 out for Kai Plum, the second baseman coming in. Not familiar with this name, so I'm not sure if he is a newbie, but Kai has good power, and he bloops that one into right field, and here comes Sorelli getting that one about waist high. I thought it may had a chance to get down, but the runners read it properly, and they retreated. So that is 2 outs now with runners on first and seconds for Terrence Sparks. Tier 2 pinch perfect and clutch, neither are active. Takes a strike one here. Kellen Kirk with great accuracy, below average velocity and junk, but he has a K collector trait. That ball fouls off and it bounces off the backstop for a strike 2. So now K collector activates, and there it is. A nice pitch from Kellen Kirk, and that's going to put the inning away. So 2 hits, but nothing comes of it, and the Sewer Sneaks go down. It is still 1-0 as we head to the top of the second. Here comes new acquisition over the offseason. Elias Hensley, great contact, has now tier 3 high pitch and fastball. And as I've mentioned a few times throughout this series, they do not activate together, unfortunately. So if a high fastball comes in, it will either activate the high pitch or the fastball hitter trait, but not both. And he lines out gently to left field to get the first out of the second inning. Orville Bracketeer now back to neutral after getting out of the tough first inning. Justice Cologne with off-speed hitter, with Ace Exterminator activated, but she hits that one very high to left field, hanging up for Jensen to catch for out number 2. And Justice Cologne had a really solid season 2 after struggling a lot through season 1, and so she is going to be another batter we're hoping we can rely on offensively this year. Ramon Lee had a really good year. We're hoping to see some of the same. 1-2 count here for Bracketeer against Ramon Lee with 2 outs, fouls that one off. And dribbles that one slowly to right field, and misplaying that is Bracketeer initially, but he was able to recover, toss it over to first for out number 3. So 1-2-3 inning as we went through our 5, 6, 7 hitters. And now we head back out to the field for Vic Cantu. First baseman comes up against Kellen Kirk and shatters his bat. Kellen Kirk had to avoid the shrapnel as he was going to that ball that dribbled in front of the plate there, and he's able to make the play over at first for out number 1. Bella Jensen comes up. Good speed for her, but not much when it comes to hitting. Big Hack and Sprinter, so she's going to have a tough time for any of those infielders. And she gets that one down the line, and it's going to go foul. 0-2 count here. K Collector is activated, and she gets underneath it, pops it up, and there's Buck B with a chance, and he catches that one right next to the foul line. And that's out number 2. Here comes Augustus Mastiff. Has Tier 2 Bunter. I don't know if we'll see that activate here. Also has Tier 2 Sign Stealer. And pulls one foul, so K Collector activates pretty quickly here for Kellen Kirk and takes a ball low and outside. And there's the strikeout. Nice pitch just out of the zone. And Kellen Kirk gets another one. I think that's his second strikeout of the game so far. Good starting for him so far through 2 innings. And now we will go 8-9-1 here in the top of the 3rd. Starting with Glass Snyder. Glass did have to be released before we entered the offseason. He was getting overpaid due to some regression that happened throughout the season, and he grounds that one up the middle, but Plum is able to get to it, and Slowpoke actually helps them out as they were able to get the out at first base pretty easily. And yeah, so Glass Snyder comes back in and grounds out immediately. Here comes Buck B with his Tier 1 fastball hitter. Tier 3, excuse me. Top tier is kind of what I meant there. 2-0 count, and that ball just past the diving Plum and into center field. Lucas Wallace will get it in, but it is going to be a base hit for the newly added catcher of the Outlaws. So Braden Sorelli comes up. He grounded out his first time, and he swings way late on that fastball. Bracketeer getting up over 30 pitches, and that's going to be a ball sent into right field for another base hit. And so the Outlaws have something cooking with 1 out here. Runners on first and second for Dalton Babshishin, who already got a base hit today. He also got caught stealing in the first inning. Catcher on behind the plate is locked in and has a massive advantage with his arm, or with their arm. I don't know who that is behind the plate. Babshishin fouls one off, down 0-2 here. And gets that one just right to Bracketeer. He turns around, throws to second, gets the double play to end the inning. So nice fielding from the former All-Star, and Bracketeer is able to get out of that 1-out jam very quickly. Unfortunately, Babshishin just could not get any barrel on that one. And you got to give him some kudos for some nice pitching from Bracketeer. First pitch strike to Lucas Wallace. Second pitch strike, and K Collector activates against the center fielder. And takes ball just inside, misses the plate. And that ball hit into left center field. It's going to carry, but it might hang up. And nice range from Tony Centercut to get over there right at the warning track to make the play. Dalton Babshishin looked like he was shading a little bit more towards right field, so had a long way to go. But Tony Centercut has good speed and was able to track that one down. First pitch strike for Frown, fouls one off, and now locked in Kellen Kirk will see his K Collector trade activate. And it's going to be a pop-up to shallow right field. Ranging back is Quintana, catching that for out number 2. And now here comes Franklin Pennington. Here is the locked-in catcher, 1-for-1 with a single. High pitch and off-speed hitter. He was not available in the off-season, or that would have been a guy I would have been looking at too. He pops one foul there. And another base hit for the catcher. He's 2 for 2. And that one goes into left field. And Kellen Kirk, after giving up that base hit, will drop back down to neutral mojo. And now here comes Loki Holcorn, 1-for-1 with a single as well. Not much speed over there at first base. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it back. It was inside. And that one stays inside as well. That's an 0-2 count here. Kellen Kirk with K Collector. And gets the strikeout. So he does it for the 3rd inning. He strikes him out to end the inning. I think that's 3 consecutive innings that he has gotten a strikeout to end things. So interesting start, and Kellen Kirk still staying pretty hot here. We turn back over to our offense, and Tony Centercut, who already hit 1 home run in his first at-bat of the year against Orville Bracketeer, gets a fastball, but in on his hands, and he pops that one into right field. Back and then coming in is Mastiff, catching that for out number 1. Anytime you can get center cut out and not and not on base is going to be a miracle for most of these teams. First pitch strike on the 40th pitch of the at bat for Bracketeer. Rock Quintana grounded out his first time up, takes a ball, so 2-1 count here for Rock. Takes a fastball strike, so 2-2, and gets a fastball, but he gets on it, on top of it, dribbles it into second base glove of Plum, and that's out number 2. So Elias Hensley, who flew out to left his first time up, will look to see if he can redeem himself and look to see if he can find something to drive. Chases that fastball. It sails out of the zone. That was that elite cutter of Bracketeer. 1-1 count here, and then an off-speed pitch that he pops into foul territory, and it looks like it's just going to be able to get down. Ranging over there was Jensen, but couldn't get there in time. 1-2 count, and gets a fastball, but it's going to ground directly to Cantu at first for out number 3. And so another quiet inning for the Outlaws offense, and thankfully we got that leadoff home run from... We got that leadoff home run from Tony Centercut, and that has been the difference in this game through 3.5 innings. Kellen Kirk comes back out to the mound. Will face off against Kai Plum. Currently locked in with K Collector, and that ball is going to be pulled foul out of play. We'll do it again. 0-2 count again, and that ball is pulled into almost the same spot, but this one lands fair. Tony Centercut running into that little corner in left field, and that's going to be a standing double for Kai Plum. So good start for the Sneaks, getting an opportunity to try and at least tie this one back up. And now Terrence Sparks comes in with Tier 2 clutch, runner on second base with no outs. Kellen Kirk was locked in for a second, gives up that hit and drops back down to neutral. 2-0 count, and that ball goes up the middle. Dalton Babshishin charging in, gets the ball and throws it in very quickly. Cutting it off is Justice Cologne. Runners are currently on the corners with no outs, and Kellen Kirk finding himself in his first jam of the season. Clutch still active at first base. Swinging through the first one is Vic Cantu. Does have Big Hack activated, but it will not activated, but has Big Hack. Tier 2 K Collector activates here. 1-2 count, and they show bunt on the suicide squeeze, and Kellen Kirk only has the option at first base. So with a 1-2 count, very gutsy call, Cantu was able to get the ball down. The runner was taking off from third. And now we have a tie ball game, 1-1. And Bella Jensen coming up with 1 out and a chance to drive in that run from second base. 45th pitch of the day for Kellen Kirk, and it is a foul. 1-1 count, and swings through strike 2. So here's K Collector again for Kellen Kirk, and pops this one up into shallow right field down the line, and Justice Cologne ranging back is able to get to that one very quickly and then tosses it all the way into third base to keep that runner at second. So runner at second base now with 2 outs, and Augustus Mastiff, who's 0 for 1 today, is now coming up to the plate with 2 outs. Has that Tier 2 bunter trait again, but maybe not as valuable here, as that one goes right down the line, bounces off the bag and into the glove of Justice Cologne, who steps on it for out number 3. But a run does come across. A couple of hits for the Sewer Sneaks, and they sneak their way back into this one. It is tied up 1-1 heading into the top of the 5th. We will see Justice Cologne, the Ace Exterminator, come up to the plate. Takes a strike for strike 1. Here's 50th pitch for Bracketeer. Has Tier 2 K Collector, which is helping him out in a high-pressure situation, and gets the pop-up in the infield. Justice Cologne standing on first base, knows she missed that one, and Bracketeer sighs a big sigh of relief catching that one for out number 1. And we're now at max pressure, and Orville Bracketeer will have to face off against Ramon Lee, who pulls the first pitch over to third base, and Frown gets it over to Cantu for out number 2. So here comes Glass Snyder, 0 for 1 today. The vet is looking to see if he can help his team out a little bit and get Bracketeer out of his groove. Dribbles that one that curls back fair and steps on the bag. Cantu gets the out number 3, and we head to the bottom of the 5th now. Score still tied 1-1, and now Lucas Wallace with Tier 2 clutch also comes up in a high-pressure situation against Kellen Kirk. And so he's going to see a little boost to his attributes, but he swings at the first pitch. Glass Snyder tosses across the diamond out number 1. Heavy Frown has tier 2 choker, so that's not going to be helping her in an extreme pressure situation. She's going to see her traits drop to about that 50 mark. Fouls the first pitch back. Fouls another one back, so down 0-2 here. Kellen Kirk will activate K Collector and does not chase that one. Doesn't chase down and in. 2-2 count. And she hits that one hard and on a line. It's tailing away from Tony center cut. He's going to try and get it into second base, and not in time. Evie Frown, the choker, actually comes up clutch for her team with a double there with one out here to potentially get the game-winning run, or at least break the tie here at second base for Franklin Pennington. And he's still locked in. 0-2 count here for Kirk. And that ball's going to drop in front of center cut in left field. Frown holds at third, but a base hit from Franklin Pennington, who's 3 for 3 now today. And the Sewer Sneaks are in business with one out. And Loki Holcorn comes up 1 for 2 with a single. Kellen Kirk gets pulled for Dane Rollins, his first appearance of the year. One of our more consistent players last year. Gets a head trait, does not help him out there. Grounder to Quintana, over to Lee, over to first, out number 3 on the double play, and Dane Rollins comes in and gets the job done, holding that game-breaking run over there at third base. And we're still tied. Heading into the top of the 6th now, B. Buck will come in. Bracketeer on his 55th pitch here is locked in. Takes a ball 1 and then pulls one foul. So 1-1 count here for Buck against Bracketeer. Gets a fastball but pulls a foul. 1-2 count and gets that one off the end of the bat and is able to muscle that over the first baseman's head and into right field. So another hit for B. Buck, his second in as many at-bats. And he will be standing on first in an extreme pressure situation for Braden Sorelli. 1 for 2 with a single. And Bracketeer drops back down to neutral mojo, but has his clutch trait come up for him here as he gets the double play, the 4-6-3, to completely eliminate the momentum for the Outlaws. And now with 2 outs, we'll see Dalton Babshishin come up. Still extreme pressure, tier 2 clutch activated, and really helping out Orville Bracketeer in these late innings. 0-2 count for Babshishin. And pops that one foul off the end of the bat, and it hits off the netting back there. And then hits that one right to Plum. Plum to first, out number 3. So another solid inning for Orville Bracketeer. He gave up a base hit or a home run in the first inning and has shut down this Outlaws offense pretty much since then. And here we go, bottom of the 6th. The Sneaks trying to finish this one off and avoid going to extras. Dane Rollins, we'll see what he can do to push this one into extras for his team. Gets a first pitch strike there against Plum. Plum will ground that one to Quintana. Takes his time, tosses to first, out number 1. Terrence Sparks now comes up. Tier 2 clutch for him. The DH for today's game is 1 for 2. And we'll see what he does here. Ball 1, followed by another ball. Dane Rollins missing the zone a couple of times. Gets him chasing for strike 1. And that ball is hit very hard, but right to Ramon Lee, who gets that one over to first for out number 2. And so now we'll see locked in Dane Rollins against Vic Cantu, who got that sacrifice bunt with 2 strikes on him last time, and that was the only run of the game for the Sewer Sneaks so far. There's a 1-1 count with 2 outs, and Cantu chases that pitch way out of the zone. 1-2, and that one catches the corner for strike 3. And Dane Rollins will take us into extra innings, and the Outlaws will get their 3, 4, 5 hitters against Orville Bracketeer. And I don't know if he stays out there, but we will be monitoring the situation in the bullpen. And Bracketeer is going to start the top of the 7th here. And he already gave up 1 home run to Tony Centercut. We'll see what he does here. Centercut 1 for 2 with a solo home run, 1-1. And that one's going to go foul, so 1-2 count here. And ball way out of the zone, does not chase, 2-2. And there's an off-speed pitch that he hits into the ground. Holcorn will get that over to first for out number 1. So the first of this gauntlet goes down, and we will see Rock Quintana 0 for 2 today. An off-speed hitter will be active. 69th pitch for Orville Bracketeer is an off-speed pitch. He swings right through, and that one's right to Cantu for out number 2. So 2 outs now for Elias Hensley, 0 for 2 today as well, looking for a high pitch or a fastball. And we'll see what Bracketeer can do. Still locked in. And there's a fastball sent into right field corner, and it's tailing foul, and it gets down. It one-hops the wall, but just foul. And he does it again, this one going into the same exact spot, and it is going to go foul as well. That one hits the wall, so just missing 2 shots. And that time, gets a fastball again, but it goes right into the glove of Vic Cantu. Couldn't get enough height on that one, and we go down in order. 1, 2, 3, and the top of the 7th. Orville Bracketeer pitching a gem in this one. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. We're going through their 7, 8, 9 hitters. Dane Rollins will stay out there. Gets a first pitch strike, followed by a foul. And there's strike 3. 3 pitches to get the batter in that at bat. Nice pitching from Dane Rollins, and here comes Augustus Mastiff, and he's going to be pulled for Hanny Smalls. Hanny Smalls comes in, good contact hitter, not much speed or power. Pops that one up, but pops it foul, and it hits off the netting in the backstop. A 1. There's a pop up. This one is going to be in play, and Dane Rollins will call off B and catch that for out number 2. So Lucas Wallace, 0 for 2 today, has tier 2 clutch in this extreme pressure situation, and that is helping out his traits. Dane Rollins still locked in. That's helping out his traits, and gives up a first pitch base hit right up the middle. And that's going to be a single with 2 outs for the Sewer Sneaks. The potential winning run is on base now for Evie Frown, who already hit a double, 1 for 3 today. Tier 2 choker activated for her. Good speed over there at first base. She's looking to see if she can get the ball, find some grass in fair territory. Dribbles that one slowly to Rock, over to first, out number 3. And Dane Rollins with another solid inning will take us to the 8th inning. So the Outlaws really needing to get something going here. And Justice Colon will lead things off, going 0 for 2 today so far. We are now in a high-pressure situation. Not sure how that happened. Hanny Smalls will be pulled for Byron Poole in right field. And Orville Bracketeer will continue on the mound. And Justice Colon sends that one into left field. That looks like it may stay fair, and it's going to hit off the foul pole. A solo shot for the first baseman and the captain of the Outlaws. She puts that out. 392 off the foul pole. Her first home run of the year, and this is going to break the tie in 8 innings so far. We finally have a tie broken, 2-1 Outlaws, and Ramon Lee will come up, and that's it for Orville Bracketeer. Smash McCoy will come in with great accuracy, below average everything else. And 2 balls to start this one off. 4-seam slider curveball combo for Smash McCoy. 2-1 count for Ramon Lee. Smashes that one, but pulls it foul. So now 2-2 with no outs. And Ramon Lee fights that one off and stays alive. We'll do it again. And he sends one into right field. It looks like it doesn't have enough juice in it, and that's going to die right at the edge of the warning track. New entry to the game, Byron Poole, ranges over and catches that for out number 1. Glass Snyder now comes up with 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Tier 3 outside pitch, so that's exactly what he's looking for. Gets it, but it's low. And that one stays low too. 2-0 count here. And he swings at that one and pops it into foul territory. It looks like it's going to stay in play for Evie Frown, catching that for out number 2. And now here comes B. Buck, 2 for 2 today. Going to see what he can do to help his team. You imagine that 1 run, it would be enough, but of course we never know, and the Sewer Sneaks are able to sneak into a lot of these games with their never quit attitude. 1-2 count here for Buck against McCoy, and that ball is going to be dropped into right field for a base hit. Byron Poole gets it in, but there we see Buck gets the mojo boost, which will be nice for his arm in the bottom of the 8th inning. But we have a runner on with 2 outs, and Braden Sorelli comes up. He's having a rough day, 1 for 3 with a base hit. He also grounded into at least one double play. I can't remember if it was more than that. Really solid arm behind the plate, so we don't expect the runners to go. 1-2 count here, and tough out activates for Sorelli. And chases that one low and inside for strike 3. So McCoy is able to get out of it after relieving Orville Bracketeer. But Bracketeer stretching it into 8th inning. The starter ends up giving up the home run to Justice Colon. And now Dane Rollins steps up to the mound with a chance to close this one out. And we'll see center cut get pulled for McKinney for the defensive replacement in left field. Dane Rollins looking to see if he can get out of this one unscathed. Franklin Pennington, the scariest batter you'll face today, 3 for 3 with 3 singles, 3-0 count, and they don't want anything to do with him. They decide to walk him on 4 pitches, and that will bring us to Loki Holcorn, who's 1 for 3 with a single. Max pressure again, and we'll see a really great arm behind the plate, and Buck, slightly above average speed over there at first base is the tying run with no outs. Runner takes off on the hit and run, and it works to perfection as Rock Quintana was heading to second base, pulled way out of position. Runner is heading home, and they will score. It is tied 2-2. Dane Rollins gives up the tying run here in the bottom of the 8th. And now, after the double from Holcorn, he gets pulled for Dane Schaffer, who will come in to replace him. And winning run is on second base with no outs. Kai Plum comes up to the plate. He's currently 1 for 3 with a double. And dribbles that one slowly. Justice Colon will step on the bag and then turn and look at the runner who easily reaches third base. So now, very tough situation for the Outlaws as they have the game-winning run sitting on third base with only 1 out. Terrence Sparks will come up to the plate, 1 for 3 with a single. Clutch activated here. Max pressure situation. And that ball is going to be fisted over, and oh my God, what luck. That one gets off the bat, and Glass Snyder is able to range into just foul territory to catch that for out number 2. And now Vic Cantu, who already got 1 of the runs across on his sacrifice bunt, can't do it here. And that ball is going to be blooped into right field, and that's the game winner. Vic Cantu comes up for the Sewer Sneaks and win it in walk-off fashion with a bloop into right field with 2 outs and a runner on third base, and the Sewer Sneaks steal a victory from the jaws of defeat. They come in and score 2 runs in the 8th inning to walk off with the victory, and man, what a dagger. The Outlaws put up a fight, but their offense got completely shut down by Orville Bracketeer for about 7 innings today, which is absolutely crazy to look at. So we'll take a look. The offense did not produce much outside of Buck B there at the bottom of the order, going 3 for 3. We saw Justice Colon and Tony Centercutt both come up huge with solo shots each, and that looked like it was going to be enough for the victory, but it wasn't, as the Sewer Sneaks really came through. Big day from Pennington. Big day from Holcorn there. Vic Cantu with 2 RBIs was the difference maker. And man, what a frustrating loss on opening day for the Outlaws. Kellen Kirk with a solid performance. He went 4 1/3, giving up 7 hits and 1 earned run and 3 strikeouts. Dane Rollins pitched really well as well and gets the loss, unfortunately. He does not deserve that, as Schaffer was the one that came in and gave up the game-winning hit. But 2 2/3 for Rollins, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts, and then Schaffer comes in and gives up the game-winning hit, unfortunately. Now, for the Sewer Sneaks, Orville Bracketeer with 7 innings is nuts. 6 hits, 2 earned runs, and gave up 2 solo home runs. And then Smash McCoy came in, 1 inning pitched. He gets a hit and a strikeout. He gets the win today. So Franklin Pennington will get the number 1 spot, Tony Centercutt number 2, and Justice Colon number 3. I really feel like you should put Cantu in that number 1 spot instead of Pennington, but I don't make the rules. So opening day, and the Outlaws drop 0-1 to start off the season in a must-win year, and that's very frustrating for us. So I'm going to go ahead and sim all these games to our next one, which is our home opener against the Burners. And the rest of the league starting off really solid. The Burners going 1-0. Big victory for them. They got a +10 run differential against the Bone Chills, I assume. And then we see the Pythons and the Maulers both getting a win as well as a loss. And the Marauders start 0-1 with us. Frustrating start to the season for us, but we will be bringing out Madden Zimmerman, our co-ace, for the second game of the season against the Burners. Let's take a quick peek at what happened since that game ended. Let's see. Where are we at? Here we are. So a chance for Rock Quintana to get Slowpoke with a chance for power and a drop in contact. I don't think that's a good idea. I'll take a peek at it in a second, but I will tell you we don't have much money to work with, so we're probably not buying many player developments, if any. Colton Ryan, the newly signed reliever, gets +7 fielding, so that's always nice. And then a chance for Lily Dubs for development here. So peeking at development, I don't think we're going to be able to have a chance for anything here. So we'll keep an eye on it in case anything becomes available and we feel it's valuable. But for right now, we're not going to see any of these opportunities be something that we can end up buying. So with that being said, yeah, I think that's where we're going to leave things off. I don't know how you feel about the new team. Give me your thoughts. Give me your feedback in the comments below. And just know this is make or break. We had to go all in, and so we spent every penny we had. We have a $700,000 left, but really didn't have the opportunity to max out anything else. And this is where we stand. The team with a tough loss in game 1 of the season, but we're going to hopefully bounce back in the next one. Hope you come back and watch. We'll talk to y'all later. Have a great one. Bye, everyone.